Happy Odin's Day. Happy 800th video. Today I'm going to read my translation of Vafthruthnismal. And I'd like to wish a happy 16th birthday for yesterday to my nephew Danny. I hope you had an excellent day. It was of a time that Odin and Frigg were sat together, and contemplation weighed upon the All-Father. Frigg waited for her husband to break the silence, which with surety he eventually did. Advise me now, Frigg. For some time I have thought to travel to and visit Vafthruthnismal. I have a great curiosity to speak with him within his great hall and test my wisdom against that elder, that wise Jotun. I would favour that the father of hosts stayed here, at home in Asgard. This Jotun you have taken great interest in is unlike any other. You may even be of equal might, as it is suggested Vafthruthnismal may be. I have travelled far, much to trial in houses, much of the experience of the great powers. Meeting with, to measure my will against Vafthruthnismal at his home, I would see. To this Frigg replied, knowing that her husband was compelled to this path. She smiled softly and placed a hand upon his arm. Hail, thou traveller, hail back upon your return, hail to you upon your way. Where you go, All-Father, use your great skills and wisdom well, and with cunning words to speak with this Jotun. Only those to a seer can know of the great and special bond they share, and how it was to be in that moment of one understanding the drive of another, whatever others may foolishly think, and to put aside one's will in favour of the other. Odin took leave of his wife Frigg. Journey then, Odin, to make trial of wisdom in words, of that kind but all-wise Jotun. At the great hall he arrived, and the family of him's father in to walk anxious forthwith. In disguise, upon his arrival at the hall of Vafthruthnismal, Odin announced, Hail thou, Vafthruthnismal, now within your hall I would come. I thought I would see for myself, to meet with one with a great will, and to see for myself the depths of your knowledge, all-wise Jotun. In response to a guest, Vafthruthnismal replied, I see you, human. Before you enter my hall fully, what is to be the prize to throw our words upon? Or would you seek greater wisdom still by staying your request to measure whose knowledge is greater? By leaving. I am called Gaganrava, and I would come into your great hall, for I have a great thirst to quench if you bestow upon me an invite for hospitality, for I have travelled far, Jotun. Then you should come in, Gaganrava. Speaking of gifts, firstly you shall come and sit within my home, and herein we shall make a trial of words, to see if you, the testing guest, or this old sage, is the greater in wisdom. Gaganrava, Odin, sets the terms. A vagabond it is, to the rich arrives, to measure his wisdom, or gifts the great host with great babbling. Hung shall be ill reward, whomsoever against cold-ribbed silence comes. Tell me, Gaggenrather, since you are so uncertain of your gifts that you would make a trial of them, to distinguish yourself, let me see if you know what the name of the horse is that draws daily over people's youth. Skinfaxi is the name of the horse that draws daily over people's youth. Reckoned to be among the best of horses, always a shining mane compared to other horses. Say that, Gaggenrather, since you are so uncertain of your gifts that you would make a trial of them, to distinguish yourself. Let me see if you know what the name of the stallion is that draws night from the east over and across the great powers. Hrimfaxi is the name of the stallion that draws night over and across the great powers. Foam from his bit brings death to the morning, and also leaves dew over valleys. Say that, Gaggenrather, since you are so uncertain of your gifts that you would make a trial of them, to distinguish yourself, let me see if you know what it is called, that distributor between Jotunheimer and Asgarder. Eyfinger is the name of that distributor that separates Jotunheimer from Asgard, and an open course shall that river run for ever and ever, never to be stricken by or turned to ice. Say that, Gaggenrather, since you are so uncertain of your gifts that you would make a trial of them, to distinguish yourself. Let me see if you know what the field is called, where battle will be found between Surtur and a beloved god. Viglifa is the name of the field, where battle will be found between Surtur and a beloved god. 100 miles there is in every way that this field is marked out. Vafthruthnismal smiled as he now spoke. You are a guest with knowledge. Come now to sit beside me on the Jotun's bench. We will speak in length together and see who will prove best in this wager of intelligence within this great hall. Guest of wisdom. Taking a seat by the Jotun, it was now the turn of Odin, maintaining his disguise as Gaggenrather, to put questions to his host. Say that, to contend alone, if your disposition suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this first. Of whence arrived earth or upper heaven, wise Jotun? Out of Ymir's flesh the earth was made, but from his bones came rock, the sky came from his skull, from that rime-cold Jotun's blood there came the seas. Say that, to contend alone, if your disposition suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this second, whence Mani arrived, and to move over mankind that gives way to the sun. Mundulfari is the father of his son Mani, that gives way to Sol, within their cycle in the skies. They mark every passing day which count towards the reckoning of the years. Say that, to contend alone, if your good sense suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this third, whence day arrived, and to move over mankind, which gives way to night, and the cycle of the moon. Dellinga is the father of his son Darga, but not is daughter to her Jotun father Norvi. The cycles of Mani are to look after and to make use of the ruling powers over age and by time for the reckoning of the years. Say that to contend alone, if your disposition suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this forth, whence winter and warm summer first arrived, and were known by the ruling powers. Vinsvala is the father of Vetra, but Svolsuva is the father of Suma. Vindalsvala's father is the Jotun, Vasuva, and all that family is dire. Say that to contend alone, if your disposition suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this fifth. Who of the gods, or Ymir's kin, are the eldest out of the days of yore? There was an immense winter before the shelter of the earth was cleft, and of that time there was the Jotun Bergelmir, born of Fludgelmir, who in turn was born from Orgelmir, with him being the grandfather of Bergelmir. Say that, to contend alone, if your good sense suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this sixth, whence Orgelmir arrived with Jotnar's sons first. Do you still have the knowing, Jotnar? From Elivaga sprang a drop of poison, and this continued to drip and grow in size until out from a cairn there came that Jotun in a fit of madness. His families arrive all sharing such a trait that ever will always show them to be fierce. The Jotun spoke with a rising level of frustration, having his great and ancient knowledge questioned by this challenging, upstart guest Gaganratha. Say that to contend alone, if your good sense suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this seventh, how Orgelmir was capable of fathering children when he did not have the pleasure of a giantess. Wonder befell to grow, it is said, Hrimthurs, a daughter and a boy together from foot with other foot opening came. I remain still the wise Jotun, you six-headed son. Perhaps throwing such a statement at his guest was not wise or courteous, and yet, even as host, he could not allow his authority to be diminished in such a fashion, or at least without trying to throw the guest from his own wisdom, which seemed to be of suspicious depth. Who had instructed this Gaganratha? How could he know of the laws so pertinent to the Jotnar? Say that to contend alone, if your good sense suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this eighth. What was the first experience of man? Does your knowing cover this, you all-wise Jotun? There was an immense winter before the shelter of the earth was cleft, and of that time there was the Jotun Bergelmir. That which was the first of man to experience was to see. I remain, knowing Jotun, upon the trumpet of lawful oath. Say that to contend alone, if your good sense suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this ninth. Whence wind arrived, that moves over waves, and which humans seldom see? Hreisvelga is the name of the one who sits upon the edge of the sky, a Jotun in eagle's form. It is from their wings that the wind utters and crosses over all humans. Say that to contend a tenth, since you know all of the gods' origins, Vafthruthnismal, whence Niorfa arrived among the sons of the Aesir. He manages a vast number of temples and places of worship, even if he is not equal in entirety to the Aesir. In Vanaheim is where Niorfa was given form by the ruling powers and sent to Asgarth as a goodly hostage in everlasting reason. He thinks he might return home when all is forgiven. Say that to contend, if your good sense suffices, and you, Vafthruthnismal, know this 11th. Who are the men upon Odin's great field that fight every day? Einherjar they are known as, the chosen host that fight every day upon the great field of Odin. When the fighting is finished, they will ride away from there with their spears, to sit then together in reconciliation. Say that to contend a 12th. Why you know all of the gods' origins, Vafthruthnismal. From Jotnar mysteries and all of the gods signify you have learned truthfully still all-wise Jotun. From Jotnar mysteries and all of the gods I can tell, Sooth's stone I have heaved, home often to come, 9 times I have journeyed and arrived home from those other lands. For Niflheimer is beneath, and there in that other place to die, from death you shall find yourself human. And there it was. By the nature of the contest of wills, a shift would now be wrestled for. A final stage that only one of them could win. Vafthruthnismal possessed great wisdom, without a doubt. Yet Odin was not beaten. There were still tricks that could be played, nor was he even considering that he could lose as he made his pitch. I have travelled far, much I have made trial of, and much I have proved of the ruling powers. What people will endure when the worst passes over the land, Fimbulvetter, the great and awful winter that must eventually come. Lif and Lifrasir, if they hide, shall endure. In the woods of Hodmimis, morning dew will give them sustenance while they survive. And after the age of suffering has passed, people of Ash will resurface. I have travelled far, much I have made trial of, and much I have proved of the ruling powers. Whence comes soul upon the level sky, and pursued will be caught by Fenrir. A lone daughter upon Alfredal, exposed in the open, will already be pursued by Fenrir. It is she who will ride that chariot when the ruling powers have died. The daughter will faithfully follow the mother's road. I have travelled far, much I have made trial of, and much I have proved of the ruling powers. Who are these maids that go across the sea, these wise-minded travellers? 3 people drop from above to an unsheltered place. They are the maids of Moflasir, guardians within homes they are to be yet, with the Jotnar and with the Ash people. I have travelled far, much I have made trial of, and much I have proved of the ruling powers. Who will advise the Aesir of their property and wealth when the flames of Surtur have expired? Vidar and Vali will release the wealth of the Aesir when the flames of Surtur have expired. Modi and Magni shall take possession of Mjolnir after the death of Vingnir. I have travelled far, much I have made trial of, and much I have proved of the ruling powers. What befalls Odin at his time of destiny, when fate inflicts the wounds upon the ruling powers? Wolf shall swallow the All-Father. and Vidar shall thus wreak those cold gaping jaws. Splitting them asunder he shall in battle where the wolf has gained vantage. I have travelled far. Much have I made trial of, and much have I proved of the ruling powers. What spoke Odin into his son Balder's ear as he stood before his path to Helheim? You are no human. There is no way that you can know what. It was too late. The words had been spoken. The trap had been laid, and only now, caught in the rhythm of the contest, did Vafthruthnismal realise that he had fallen into it, pausing in his thoughtful silence. What you said in days of yore, what you spoke into your son's ear, I do not know. No one knows. I have now uttered my ancient letters, also of the doom of the gods, to contend with word speaking against Odin. You shall ever be the wisest. Vafthruthnismal conceded defeat to the Allfather. The price, of course, was death by hanging, terms set by Odin, agreed to by the Jotun host, and so it was binding. None would ever receive hospitality again at the hall of Vafthruthnismal, unless it was to be greeted by the hanging corpse of the Jotun while it remained there. Odin would return to Asgard and to Frigg, dwelling upon the fate that clearly lay on his path, now foretold by more than just one seer. Thank you for listening, and I do not claim that this is a definitive translation. It is a earnest translation, one with some interesting points that I am happy to debate. And I hope that you have enjoyed some of the elaborations as well on crafting it into a story rather than a poem. Thank you for listening. Do take care. Goodbye.